fast.
Right. You have to figure out to leave
Yeah.
for much. Okay. Oh, I should check what much of Shabbos is so you get ready for that, so you know.
Yeah,
Right?
Simon Chafei, yeah. Motzei Shabbos might be a little shaky on this manim because of the
Much.
women's share, and I'm in Lakewood by a Shabbat Brachas, so it's going to be a little juggle. So
All right. So much of Shabbos is
post it. Yeah.
until Chaf Aleph, Simon Chaf Aleph in Chaf Vav.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. So Simon Chafei Dinei Asher Velatzian Ad Gemara Tefila.
It's gonna be later. It's gonna be later.
Possibly. Yeah, it won't be earlier. Unless Olam just decides they want it earlier, then we can do it earlier, but I don't know. Aleph. Imrim Ashrei Utila LeDavid. We say Ashrei and Tila LeDavid. Right? Meaning those are because Tila LeDavid is the perek. Ashrei we add on. Tzrichim L'chavan by Heitev, and you have to have a good kavanah with it. The proper pasuk b'seich yadecha, like we learned already before. Yechavan is even ma'od k'mash kasafti before Yud Dalet. You have to have a lot of kavanah when saying pesach yadecha. Days achakach lam natseach. After you say lam natseach ve'elu yom shein amar loitzayin. These are the days you don't say it. Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Purim, Puadin, Shana Muberes, B'yom Yud Dalet Tesvav, and a leap year, Shabbat Adar Rishon. That's another Rishon, and then Erev Pesach, Erev Yom Kippurim, and Tisha B'av. Right? Like holidays is when we don't say it. Or Erev holidays. Gam ein ayrim ma'aseh b'beis ha'avel. We don't say it in the Oval House. Gam kel erech apayim ein ayrim. A lot of people make a mistake on this one. When you don't say lam natseach, so then you don't say kel erech apayim before laning. Many people think that when you don't say tachnun, you don't say kel erech apayim before laning. That is not the case. All the shuls I go to in Nissan, when we don't say tachnun, so they nobody says keler chapayim. You have to say it. You only don't say keler chapayim on the days that you don't say lam natseach, like coming up next week, with Chanukah. So we're not going to say keler chapayim. Gimel, Imrim kedushas of Alatzion ima targum. You say the kedusha of Alatzion with the targum. Now the targum is the Aramaic of Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh. Right? It says Kadesh Alara, Kadesh, etc., etc. Those Kadeshim, that is the translation of the Pasuk. It's the translation from Yonason, B'Razil Targum Yonason. And he says that there's 3 Kadeshim. One in this world, one in the next world, and one in the future. That's the Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh that we're referring to. So that's what we say in between Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh and Baruch Hashem Kavod, Baruch Kavod Hashem Mekayimai is the Targum. You have to say it with a lot of kavanah. You're supposed to say it quietly. And it's alpi kabbalah, because we don't try and say anything in Aramaic out loud. You're not allowed to leave the shul before this kedusha. Hey, you should try and say it with the tzibur, the Kodesh Kodesh, just like the same thing. There's Kodesh Kodesh of Birchas Kriya Shema, so you're supposed to say this one too. When if you come into the shul, or you're running a little behind, and they're up to you say it with them even before you daven. Now, before we start with Kodesh Kodesh, there's a couple of psukim of Uvalatzion. You could skip those, say Kodesh Kodesh, and then go back to those. And go back. And of course, skip Asher right? So if somebody gets a phone call or something like that, then you leave, you come back, and they're up to Uvalatzion. So not that I'm saying you should get a phone call during davening, but if that's what happens, then skip to Uvalatzion. Not while you're on, wrapping up the tefillin and getting ready to leave. Right? So you have to say it, Eiman Yira. Yeshua Tiknu B'Shas Shekovash Yericha. Yeshua is the one that wrote Aleinu L'Shabeach when he was conquering Yericha. Everybody goes according to that minhag. Hashem necheni, it's b'tzidkosecha l'man shoyroi yeshar l'fonei darkecha. It's like a little tefillah that Hashem should guide you. And then you give a little bow towards Aron Kodesh. Katamad or Niftam Rabbi, just like a Talmud is leaving his Rebbe. So when you leave the shul, you shouldn't put your back to Aron Kodesh. For some reason, people are not knocking on this anymore. You should go like to the side. When you go up to the Aron Kodesh or the bima, you should also turn around a little bit. No running and no taking large steps when you leave shul. Which unfortunately is to a lot of us. Because then it makes, if you're running out, it looks like this whole thing was a big weight. But that's only when you're going to business. But if you're leaving shul to go learn, then it's a mitzvah, it's a mitzvah to run. Okay, then to when Midrashim Harbi Masiyas, in the Midrashim there's lots of stories. Ben Omer Kaddish, because the son says Kaddish, they get saved from the din. Al-Kain Noigin Loimer Kaddish, that's the minhag to say Kaddish. And then also to go up for maftir. That the oval historically got maftir, and then from that became the minhag to get maftir the week before Yortzeit. It was Palav Neateva, and also down for the Amr, the Prophet Motzei Shabbos, specifically on Motzei Shabbos, who was Manche Choizim and Hashemas L'Gehenim. That's the Neshamas come out of Gehenim for Shabbos, but they go back in Motzei Shabbos. So you say a Kaddish, and it should be a schus. And down for the Amr. V'chein b'chol arvis she'oz tikbar sadin, and Ma'ariv is also important to down for the Amr, because that's when the din is stronger. There's many differences in the Kadeshim based on Minhagim. Right? So, meaning who gets first, etc., etc. So now the Kitzur expounds on it a little bit. Besides Shiva, if somebody's davening Shiva, meaning if I guess he doesn't have a minyan in his house, he's going to shul, Ben Shu Katan, Ben Gadol, whether he's a Katan or a Gadol, or it's Shabbos, Ben Tosha, Ben Areach, whether he lives in the town, whether he's a guest, Yeshli Kol HaKadeshim, he gets every Kaddish. All right, now I should have pointed this out. The Doich is Avelim, and he pushes off all other Avelim. This is talking about in the days when only one person said Kaddish. Nowadays, because of all the machlokes, the poskim just said everybody say Kaddish together. But that's really not the way it should be. It's one person per Kaddish. Some of the yeshivas still do this. So that's what these halachas are talking about. And now where they are again nowadays is who gets first for Chazan. Chazan, meaning the same set of halachas of this for Kaddish applies to for Chazan. Even if Yom Tif knocks off Shiva, still the person in the middle of Shiva, for those 7 days, he gets Kadima. And same thing when Yom Tif knocks off Shloishim. In Kaddish, ain't a Mavatal. It's not Mavatal Kaddish. So Kaddish, the Avelim still get first dibs. For Kaddish, we don't say Mixas Yom Kulei. Meaning, normally for Shiva and Shloishim, they get up right in the morning. They don't have to keep the whole day because Mixas Yom Kulei. But they still have Kadima to down for the Amr Mincha. Meaning they're still considered in the middle of Shiva. Shiva and Shloishim get calculated from the burial. Even though the Avel didn't hear about the death immediately, he only found out about it later, and then he started Shiva. So for Kaddish, he does not have a din Shiva, because it's more than 7 days from the death. Right, like say Nebuch with the Gaza. So the guy disappears, and then they find out a week later that he died. So, but he's died a week before. So then you don't have any priority because the Shiva is already after 7 days. If the dies on Yom Tov, minor linear Kaddish, from the day of the Kfura, meaning Yom Tov, like Cholamoyer, so you start Shiva after Yom Tov, but you don't have Kadima anymore for the Shiva. Fine, let's do a few more to do for tomorrow. Gimel, Gam Yard.
But you start saying Kaddish on Yom Tov.
You start saying Kaddish, yeah.
Right.
But for that you have Kadima.
Right.
Yeah. But in most places don't let you down for the Amid, so that's why it's not Negeya. That's why these halachas are lost. Yeah, Gimel. Gam Yartzeit. Let's say you have an oval and somebody's in Yartzeit. Zayima ben Shiva who katan. So it depends. If the one who's sitting Shiva is a katan, Shoylach Kol, Yimei Shiva Lebeis HaKnesses, and he's going to Shul, Yesh La Yartzeit Kaddish Echad, the Yartzeit gets one Kaddish. Yesh Harba Yartzeit. Excuse me, if you have many people keeping Yartzeit, Yesh La Chol Echad, Kaddish Echad, each one gets one Kaddish. Meaning there's a Kaddish before davening, Kaddish to Rabbanon, Kaddish after Aleinu, you give them out. And even if there's a katan who's ben shiva, we could push him out totally, and he won't even get a kaddish if there's a lot of Yartzeit. If there's somebody in shloishim, yesh legam ken kaddish, he gets one kaddish. Aval im yesh harbe b'nei shloishim, there is many people in shloishim in the shul. Eina katan ben shiva nitcha machmasan legamri. We don't push off the kid who's in shiva. Who gadol, but if he's a gadol, she'ena halach kol shiva lebeis haknesses. I'm sorry. It's a gadol who's not supposed to go to shul. Even though he's davening in his house, he still gets all the kadeshim. Right? So he still gets kadima, even though he got all the kadeshim at home. One kaddish, they do a gairul. And when Yom Tif knocks off the Shiva, or the father died on Yom Tif, then he has the din of a katan, since he's allowed to go to shul, then he has the din of a katan, so he doesn't have the same priorities of Shiva. Okay, Dalit ben Shiva katan, u ben Shiva gadol b'Shabbos k'Shabbat v'Knesset. So you have a competition between a ben Shiva katan and a guy who's a gadol. Shavim b'Kadeshim, they get equal kadeshim. V'im yesh kam Yartzeit hu nitcha machas hagadol. The guy in Shiva pushes off the Yartzeit. V'lechein yesh la gadol kadesh echad yosem en hakatan. So the gadol gets one more kaddish than the katan. I know a kaddish or yitzarach a katan lost his Yartzeit, and that's the kaddish that you give to the Yartzeit. Again, these are halachas that are not normally followed nowadays. Fine. Hey, Yartzeit v'chein ben shloishim. Let's say you have a Yartzeit and a guy in shloishim. Kaidum l'shar avelim shein b'seich hashana. They go before any avelim during the year. Mekamakim yeshlim losis gam lahem eze kadeshim. But they should be nice and give away some kadeshim. Yeshlim kaddish to Rabbanon. Those that are annoyed, the kaddish to Rabbanon, but gama kaddish alachar aleinu. And the kaddish aleinu yiyala Yartzeit or the ben shloishim goes to the Yartzeit or the ben shloishim. Ushar kadeshim. The shar avelim, and the other kadeshim go to other avelim, and yeshna b'minyan k'minyan kadeshim. If there's enough to give out the kadeshim, I think it's important to point out the Kaf HaChaim. Nobody should know from these halachas, but the Kaf HaChaim says it's a way bigger aliyah for the neshama to not fight and to give up on these things. Right? Learning Mishnah is way more important. Vav Yartzeit ben shloishim hechadika ravcha. When there is space, right? Ben shloishim koydem, then a shloishim goes first. Ein la Yartzeit ra kaddish echad. Yartzeit only gets one kaddish. V'imei shara Yartzeit yesh echol echad kaddish echad. Each one gets one kaddish. V'alavisha ben shloishim yidachel legamri. Even though the ben shloishim is pushed off, because they'll say the next day. Meaning the Yartzeit, it's a 1 day or bust. Yartzeit im la yom hayoim over his money. If the yard site, if he misses today, then it's the time passed. Just okay, we don't know. Let's do one more. If there's two equal avelim, meaning both shloshim, both yard site, both shiva, both the year, they make a girdle. A girdle lemar arvis, and whoever wins the girdle, the mav daven marv yeshli sheni keneged kadosh echad shachris beloy girdle. He gets one for shachris. Vala kadosh shlishi yatilu girdle. Right, and then the kadosh shlishi you do a girdle. I don't know what the point is then. What's the point of the girdle? Why don't they just alternate? And if there's many people, gam came matilin girdle do a girdle. Mishal girdle, and whoever gets a girdle, yovei oid b'seicha girdle achayim kulam. Meaning, once you have a bunch of people that are available and they make a girdle, who gets it, and one guy wins, so then he's out. He doesn't get into the future girdles until everybody at least said one kaddish, and then they could all go into the girdle again. This makes you understand why they made the minhag nowadays that people just say kaddish together, because this is off the charts for the gaboim, right? Of how difficult it is. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop over there. Everybody should have a fine night and a fine Shabbos.
He didn't bring the Gemara that we had.